Hi, my name is Kevin. In this video, I'll be talking about my solution to the implementation of the perceptron for the purposes of our project. So here's my program. Here's my main method. One of the first things I do is just ask the user for the desired cutoff in months. For our Piazza files that were given to us, that was 40. I call a method to process the data from training based on that number we were given and calculate the survival of the patients. So that method is called here. It's process data. And next, I initialize and train my weights. And I print each iteration to weights.txt. So here I initialize it, I print that line first, and then I start training it, print each iteration to the file. And then next up is validate, and all of my validate gets executed in my main. So what I do is I say, because the first line, let's look at validate. The first entry in each row of patient data in validate is the number of months. So I say if this first number is, let's say, less than the cutoff that we're given, and obviously the patient doesn't survive, and you save, and then the survival value will be -1, and then you save that to the first entry in each row of predict array, which I've initialized here. Sorry, not there. Predict array here. Right, so that's what my ifs do, else ifs, and then print that. So that is my validation part. And then next is just determining the number of correct predictions you've made in validation, number of incorrect, and the percentage. So here's where I do that, and I think it's nicely formatted. And then here's where I call my method to do the random prediction, generate all the random data, and see if they survive or not. So my methods. Process data reads from training.txt. It basically just populates an array that is the same dimensions as the patient data given to us with that patient data, but it also adds the survival value of 1 and -1 at the very front. And I determine if it's 1 or -1 with these ifs nested in the for loops. So once I determine if it's 1 or -1, I print that out, and then I print the rest of the row, and then go to the next row. This is just, these two methods are like very short. This is just a copy arrays, because I need that sometimes throughout my program. This is a method to create like a counter for one of my methods. Okay, so here's my random prediction method. I generate all my random patient data here, and these final ints are for all the magic number errors I've been getting from checkstyle. Because like I have different parameters of numbers I can generate for each category of data in the patient rows, I use a switch statement, and it's controlled by basically the column number in each row. So that's this, my default. And then, so after generating my data, I apply my survival prediction, like will this patient survive or not, method, and that is right here. So apply survive determines if the patient has a survival value of 1 or -1, and it prints that to predict 40 in our case. And then it calls apply predict, and what that does is that prints the rest of the patient data that I've generated to that same line, or that's the goal anyways. So that's right here. Prints that to the line. That's my random generation and calling those methods. So here's my weight training. So this method itself only trains the weights vector. The initialization actually occurs here. So here, float weights, new float columns -1. And then that calls weight train here. And the weight train is essentially just, it calls weight train, and then this is where I just follow what was given to us